Hello, you beautiful people. So, you're interested in Hera's new Emanator form, right? You're here for the full breakdown of her kit, how she functions, and what's been brewing in the latest leaks. Well, you've clicked on the right video. Today we're going to dive deep into Hera's Emanator form, exploring everything from her skills to her ultimate, talent, traces, and even her technique. We'll also take a detour to discuss some new updates on other characters, like Sunday, Tinjun, and Scrums, so stick around for that too. But, before we get too far, let me say up front, Hera's kit is not finalized, and it's highly likely that there will be changes before her official release, so take this info with a grain of salt. Hera's new Emanator form is going to be an Ice-type unit that follows the path of erudition. Yes, it's the same path and element as her 4-star form, but this time, she's a 5-star, and her new form scales heavily off attack, serving as a main DPS on your team. From a design perspective, Hera's Emanator form borrows elements from her previous version, but with a grander twist. She dons an oversized hat, with a purple and black color scheme, and her hairstyle remains similar. One standout feature? She sports a black and gray cape, giving her a regal, almost mysterious air. Imagine Elena from The Wandering Witch but larger and more imposing. Hera's look is completed with white stockings, which, if you're like me, make her an absolute must-pull. Now, let's get into the juicy stuff, her kit. Hera's skill is built around the Shatter buff, and it's truly a spectacle. The skill consists of 3 distinct actions, all focused on her ability to mark enemies, detonate those marks, and wreak havoc across the battlefield. Let's break it down. First action. When you use her skill, Hera applies a mark on a single target, instantly detonating it. This deals substantial damage to the marked enemy, but also causes some collateral damage to adjacent enemies. Importantly, the mark doesn't disappear after detonation, it stays until the end of the skill sequence. Second action. Hera then applies marks to adjacent enemies and detonates them at the end of this second action. Imagine facing 5 enemies. The main target gets marked in the first action, and the adjacent ones are marked in this phase, making it like a blast-type skill. Third action. In the final part of the skill, Hera marks all enemies on the field and detonates them instantly. This not only guarantees that her marks do massive damage to the main target, but spreads chaos across the entire enemy team. By the end of the skill sequence, Hera removes all marks from the field. In total, her skill can hit the main target 7 times, with 3 actions dealing damage from marks detonated. This multi-hit mechanic means that Hera has incredible potential for both single target and AoE damage. Honestly, she might just obliterate certain content, and even outside of her specialized content, she'll still be a force to reckon with. Her ultimate is simple but powerful. Upon activation, it deals ice damage to all enemies while granting Hera a buff. This buff amplifies her skill's damage, consuming 1 stack with each skill use. It essentially powers up her main source of damage, her skill, even further. Hera's ultimate is all about setting her up to hit harder and more often, perfectly complementing her role as a primary DPS. Hera's talent further enhances her performance in a team setting. Every time an ally uses their ultimate, Hera regenerates some of her energy and gains a stacking attack buff. This synergy allows her to quickly cycle her ultimate, leading to more buffs and, consequently, more damage. It's a loop that keeps her DPS at a constant high. Her technique is currently a placeholder, mirroring her 4-star form. It provides an attack buff when entering battle. Although it's basic, we expect it to change by release, as Emanators often have broken techniques. So fingers crossed for something truly game-changing. We only have crumbs of info on her traces, but they're already exciting. Her first trace increases crit damage, which needs no explanation. It's a must-have for any DPS. Her second trace enhances the first mark detonation, meaning her single target damage gets a solid boost. Even with minimal details, it's clear Hera is built to be a heavy hitter across the board. Now, on to the bonus info about some other characters. First up, Scrums. A new source claims that Scrums will have a form-shifting mechanic in their kit, with animations inspired by a chrysalis transforming into a butterfly. We've already seen some hints of this with butterfly motifs in the past, so it seems this leak might be legit. Next, Tingyun is said to have a monster form in her kit, which sounds wild. Considering she was experimented on by Ruan Mei, we can only speculate what kind of monster she could become. There's also some buzz about Tingyun possibly being the new Harmony Trailblazer replacement, a big deal, as the current one is already pretty busted. Lastly, there's Sunday. Sources say his skill is akin to Ruan Mei's, providing a team-wide buff while showing off his black flaming wings. His visuals alone are enough to get us hyped, but his kit might also make him a game-changer. Final thoughts. Hera's new Emanator form has an extremely promising kit, with a high potential for massive AUA and single-target damage. Her ability to detonate marks multiple times per skill use, and the synergy between her ultimate and talent, make her a powerhouse. That's all for today's breakdown, folks. Let me know who you're planning to pull for in the upcoming patches, Hera, Scrums, or someone else. Also, if you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated, don't forget to subscribe.